Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Toxic Fandom Podcast. My name is Mav,
I'm Matt.
and that's Matt. We're here to talk to you tonight about mostly Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I hate calling it Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, because Lord of the Rings is very sacred to me, and this is not very sacred to me, this Rings of Power business. However, the reason we're going to talk about that is because on the 29th, which I think is in 2 days' time, today's the 27th, season 2 is going to premiere. So we wanted to give you kind of like our feelings on season 1. You can kind of guess where that's going to go already, but we want to give you our thoughts on that. We have a lot of other stuff to talk about. I want to say thanks to all of the people that listened and watched our first episode. We really enjoyed doing it. I can't wait to keep on doing it. I miss doing this stuff. And thank you for listening. All the old listeners, Lily, Marie DeZio, Tom, Will, all you guys. I know I'm missing people. Caesar, all you guys. Thank you so much. Get the word out there. Share the videos. Click the bell. Hit subscribe. Do all the things you got to do. We have to get back into the ears of as many people and the eyes now of as many people as we can get. So thank you very much for that. So, Matt, you got some news for us. What do you want to talk about today?
Sure. The first piece I want to talk about, because we have two music pieces today. Want to start off with Jeremy Allen White is speaking out about his big debut as Bruce Springsteen. That's going to be coming up in a couple months. So, I mean, Springsteen, what do you think? Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm a huge fan.
This is a tough one because people are going to quickly find out where my morals sit and my beliefs sit. I love Bruce Springsteen's music, but I can't stand anything about the man himself. However, I will watch a movie about him as long as it deals with the music of Bruce Springsteen. If it's going to deal with him as a politician / activist / whatever, I don't want to watch it. That's not why I watch those movies. One of my favorite genres, it might be my favorite genre, is music documentaries. I have watched the Metallica documentary, Making the Black Album. I've watched that 100 times. I've watched Let It Be, which was the first original Beatles documentary, 1,000 times. I watched the new one that Peter Jackson did on Apple TV, or is it Disney Plus?
Disney Plus, yeah.
And that's like 8 hours of footage, and I've watched that a bunch of times. There's a 3-hour Tom Petty documentary on Amazon. I forget the name of it, but I've watched that multiple times. So I will watch music documentaries regardless of politics and stuff like that, as long as it's about the music. Because his music is, you can't deny that. You can't. His music's awesome. Same thing with John Cougar Mellencamp. Like, that dude's a socialist. No, he's not doing a movie. Oh. He's just crazy. He's just nuts. Like, I saw him live not too long ago, and he's phenomenal. He's old. He's an old man, but he can still rock out, and the songs are just like Jack and Diane. How do you not sing along with Jack and Diane? You know? And then, like, in between songs, he's talking about, like, Trump and shit, and everyone's like, bro. He's like, he wanted to walk off stage. Did you hear about that?
No.
He walked off stage like in the middle of a show because like people booed his politics. And it's like, dude, if you don't want people to boo your politics, don't bring up your politics, because there's bound for half of them are going to like it and half of them aren't. You know,
that's so the stat.
So I will watch a Bruce Springsteen movie if it deals with his musical side.
A little bit of a risky thing that Jeremy Allen White's doing is he is very dedicated to doing the music himself.
What do you mean? Like he wants to play the guitar and sing
and do the guitar he's going to do it all over again.
Wow.
Sometimes that works and sometimes it really doesn't.
And is this the director or this is the actor who's doing it?
This is the actor.
The actor. Okay.
He was we talked about him last week. He's the kid in Shameless and he's the star of The Bear. What's
his name one more time? I'm just going to look him up.
Jeremy Allen White. He was in that the wrestling movie last year. He's like very, very popular now. He did a Calvin Klein shoot this year that was all over Manhattan. He's a big deal.
All right. I'm going to we're going to try something on this show, and I'm going to try to share
his face.
This guy. Well, yeah, that too. I'm going to try to share a picture of him here. Check this out. Let's see, Jeremy Allen White. This one. Okay, this is him. He kind of looks like he could play a good Willy Wonka.
You're like, you're late on that, but yes, everybody has said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm an
And he's
old
also
man.
like
I'm
kind of
late on
crazy
everything.
too. It would have worked.
Yeah.
It would have worked. I think that that's a great take. But yeah,
Dude,
it's
look at the hair. Like you lose. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Like that. He's perfect for that.
wait
That'd
till
be
you watch
great.
The Bear. He's literally like a psychotic chef who's always yelling at everybody. It's like
So,
perfect.
so we have a listener named Kim who has been, following me on podcasts for a long time, and she jumped right in to the first episode, and she started texting me. She's like, "You will love The Bear. You have to watch The Bear." So she feels the same way you do about
I
that.
thought she was going to say she likes Willy Wonka because I have someone I have someone in my Rings of Power notes that I'm calling Sauron Slugworth. So we'll come back to him later.
So this guy wants to play Bruce and sing and do all the I think he'd play a better Bob Dylan than Bruce. I don't know. I don't see Bruce in
They're
this guy.
actually this is actually so weird that you say that. So this summer they filmed 2 music documentaries or not biopics in New Jersey. So
Okay.
he's doing Bruce, and then Timothy Chalamet is doing Bob Dylan. And Timothy Chalamet played Willy Wonka in the new Willy Wonka movie, and everyone was saying that Jeremy Allen White should have been Willy Wonka. So
Wow.
you really have a producer's mind. I don't think we've ever tapped
See?
this. That you got
Well,
movers and shakers on the mind. I think.
now Timothy Chalamet is the kid from Dune.
Yes, he's Paul Atreides from Dune.
Paul Atreides, and I don't see this kid as a rock star either. But I mean, this picture is probably when he was very young. He looks
Nope,
really little.
that's like 5 months ago.
That's like yesterday.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've seen the trailer for the Bob Dylan one, and I gotta admit he looks pretty good. He does look pretty good, but I think the other kid looks more Jewy. If
Yeah,
that
I
makes
could get
sense.
that. I think he
Yeah,
might be Jewish. I don't know. Not
Bob
to
Dylan's a Jew,
speculate.
right? Yeah,
What's up?
I-
Bob Dylan
Bob
is
Dylan's
Jewish. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely Jewish. Yeah, yeah. He's another guy who is like, when I first got into music, like when you get into your formative years, like when you like 17, 18 years old and you start really listening to music instead of just the pop stuff that's on the radio, like that's when you first started listening to Bob Dylan. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Influenced a lot of people.
I still listen to Bob Dylan. Why not?
Ooh. I don't know. I just it gets to me a little bit now. But I'm gonna watch that I'll definitely watch that biopic. Have you seen Elvis? The weird
No,
Elvis musical kind of movie?
I
Neither have
can't
I.
stand that director. He did that movie, The Great Gatsby, with Leo. That
Yeah.
stunk.
My brother is a very, very big Elvis fan, and he loves that movie. He loves that movie.
All right, that gives
I
me
didn't watch
that
it.
guy. That guy tried to talk like Elvis for like 9 years after that or something. The
Did he?
guy, yeah, he's like he had to go see allegedly had to go see a speech pathologist to make him stop talking like Elvis.
Oh
Because
wow.
all the time he was just like, oh hey,
Like Johnny Bravo.
like,
Just walking around like Johnny Bravo.
yeah, exactly. All right, we can
He
move
gets
on.
he gets into his character, I guess. I don't know. All right,
He-
what you got
yeah.
next?
So a little bit of classic horror stuff. James Wan is in talks to direct Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
So this is like another 50s movie because Universal is just completely stuck and has nothing else besides Fast and Furious. So this is the only other property that they have.
They
Do
wanted
you
to
have any
do that.
attachment? Do you have any
I have
attachment to this?
zero attachment. But
None.
however, I know a lot of people who are into classic horror movies like that. Like the old Frankenstein movies, the old Dracula movies, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Swamp Thing? No, not Swamp Thing. There's another one. Isn't there another one that's kind of
I
like
think
that?
this is the one you're confusing with the Swamp Thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Cult following. Like you have a built-in audience with this stuff. I don't think this is a bad move for them, but I thought didn't they have like a creature verse thing that they wanted to do back in the
Yes.
day?
And yeah, with the Mummy, which we
Right.
talked about on our old podcast.
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise, he's our guy.
Yeah,
He's in a movie, we go see it.
yeah, absolutely.
We
He's
have to
he's
start.
everything to me. I got posters of him up on my wall, Top Gun
Uh,
posters. He's the
but
man.
yeah, so they tried this whole thing, and then I'm not sure if you caught this one. I know you like horror. The Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man. Didn't they do that with Kevin Bacon? Or was that just a movie called Invisible or something like that?
That
I
might
thought
be what you're
Kevin Bacon
thinking
was
of.
in it. I thought Kevin Bacon was in the Invisible
Are you
movie.
thinking about the one with Chevy Chase when he's the invisible person?
Definitely not. Invisible. Hold on. There's definitely a movie. Hollow Man. Hollow Man is the year 2000. It was a horror movie with Kevin Bacon where he gets the power of invisibility.
What month was I born?
Oh, you fuck. What month? Can I find that somewhere? Probably. Elizabeth Shue is in it. You love her, don't you? Wasn't she
Yeah.
Marty's girlfriend?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is Marty's girlfriend. That's right. I forgot.
Damn right. Well, I don't know when it came out. I have no
Maybe it's
idea
on like a
production.
red box or something.
I've never seen it. I just know about it. Release. Let's see. Despite a negative response from critics. Nah, it doesn't tell me what month. What month were you born in, Matthew?
I'm a December baby.
Oh, I want to say it was before December, but I have no idea. July 25th.
Not born.
July 25th. It's older than you.
Yeah, it's older than
There you
me.
go. There you go. But sorry to
The
derail you.
Invisible Man, they did a
Yeah.
movie, which is because the Invisible Man is one of the original classic horror type things, and they did like a more like science fiction based, and it was like a really big hit, like really well received, made a lot of money. So I think that the new direction is going to be to make it really, it's like actual horror, like
Yeah.
not universe, but just like use these old properties and make like a scary movie. So
Yeah. I don't think any of these movie companies, production companies have an idea of what they want to do or where they want to go. I think Marvel kind of made everybody want to make universes and no one knows how to do it except and I don't even think Marvel knows how to do it anymore. They did it once. I think they got real lucky and I don't know if
well, because
they'll be
Stan
able to
Lee
do it
did it
again.
for him.
That's true.
He did.
That's
That's like
true.
the book. It's a genius thing. Someone actually gave me a Avengers Volume 1. Like because
Oh, okay.
he had like a birthday and someone gave him one. He's like, "Do you want my old copy?" I'm like, "Just to read, absolutely, I do." And it's like
Wow.
amazing. It's like he had all these. He knew how to do it, and no one's really done it ever
Yeah.
since or after. So
The
like
DCU has been a failure.
that hack Shakespeare never did it. They didn't have an he didn't have Romeo and Juliet teaming up with Othello. Like he never did it.
Yeah, but all of these production companies, they've been trying to do it, but they just can't figure it out. Like, because
No.
like you said with the Mummy thing, Tom Cruise never got another Mummy movie after that, and I don't even think that was the best Mummy movie. I think the original Mummy movies were way better than Tom Cruise's Mummy movie.
With Brendan Fraser or Boris Karloff?
I love Brendan Fraser.
Okay. But Brendan
I love
Fraser.
that
Those
dude.
movies are
Yeah,
awesome.
he's a great dude. I've never seen the Boris Karloff ones. You say Boris
Uh,
Karloff?
it's probably as much as I don't know, how much is like a bottle of sleeping pills? And then how much is it to rent? I've tried with those movies. And listen,
Yeah.
I went to film school. I've tried them all out like a light every single time. If it's not like 11:30 and I've had like a Coca-Cola, it's not
Yeah.
happening.
A
It,
Coca-Cola.
I don't drink
Dude,
coffee, so I'm on Cokes in the morning, dude.
there you go. That'll wake you up. Whatever does the
Yeah,
trick.
never does the trick.
Um, so what puts you to sleep faster? The original Mummy or like Bob Ross? Because that's what I use to go to sleep. I
I'll
need to
actually
take a
put
cat
on
nap. I
Bob
put on
Ross
Bob
is a good
Ross.
one.
Yeah.
I usually put on like Frasier.
Okay.
I love
That's a good
Frasier,
one.
but it's
Yeah.
very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to hear a loud noise in Frasier. It's always just them talking about which opera is nicer. It's like,
Frasier was never one that I got into. I was a Seinfeld dude.
yeah, Seinfeld I
Like
can't fall asleep to because I get involved.
right. You got to
I'm
wait for
always
that
like,
next line.
well, which one does have the cookie crunch? I don't even know. You just start thinking about all the stupid things that they're talking about.
Dolores. Anyway, what else
What do
you
I
got
have
for
next?
us?
You wanted to talk about The Crow.
Oh, we're doing the Crow. Okay.
You want to do The
I want
Crow?
to get in, I want to get into the Crow. Let's save the crow for a little bit later because that's gonna
Oh,
be a
okay.
long one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Then
Let's.
this one should be quick. Is
Okay.
they've confirmed basically that Wesley Snipes, Nicolas Cage, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, and Tobey Maguire will all be
Ooh.
returning in some capacity for these Marvel movies.
They've also confirmed that Ryan Johnson's going to do a Star Wars trilogy. That hasn't happened. So I don't. Everything that Disney says they're going to do, I take with a grain of salt. But
I would
that
say
would be
this one
really, really cool.
you could put more weight on this one. But yeah,
Yeah,
don't hold out for the David Benioff, David Weiss, or Dan Weiss, the guys from Game of Thrones. You remember when they
yeah,
promised them the
yeah,
kingdom?
yeah.
They're doing the same thing we're doing right now.
Right.
They're just
So
talking.
you have Blade. Who else was there?
You got Blade. Well, so again, Wesley Snipes, Nicolas Cage, and Tobey Maguire. They'd all
Okay.
definitely play their characters, right?
Right. So you have Blade, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man.
Yes. But
Okay.
I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility that you get like a Captain Hydra or
Mm.
some sort of evil variants. But I'm not sure if they want to dip all the way into that.
I
It
hate
might be
Captain
too
Hydra.
gimmicky if there's more than just Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
Yeah. But
Because
I think you have
then
to.
you're just fighting the old Avengers.
But Secret Wars is everybody. It's the entire Marvel universe.
Yes. And they're gonna
So
do the Beyonder, I'm pretty sure.
mm,
Which
you
because
want
they're
to?
like they've mentioned that. Have you read it, Secret Wars?
No.
No.
You want to
So
describe this for
basically,
the people?
from what I remember, because I think I read it in I definitely read it in high school. Haven't read it since.
That was
But the
like 2 years ago.
Beyonder, what's it?
That was like 2 years ago.
It was not
You shave yet?
yesterday.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Um, but basically, the Beyonder is like I don't know. He's kind of like an idiot, but
Mm-hmm.
he's very powerful. And what
Yeah.
he does is he just takes all of the Avengers and the villains and puts them in this different dimension because he wants to watch them fight. But like there's a prize at the end, and the person who wins Battle World gets all this power. They're gonna have to modify it because that's a little too toy boxy. But
Did
you know
Doctor
what I
Doom
mean?
have nothing to do with that?
No, he wins.
Oh. Oh shit.
And he
Okay.
gets to fix his
Spoiler
face.
alert.
Oh,
Jeez, Matt.
it's 60 years old,
Well,
and none of you guys are gonna read it anyway.
that's
In
true.
the comic
That's
book, at
why.
least, he
Yeah.
wins, and and then he like fixes his face, and he has all these like creatures that the Avengers have to fight. I mean, they've already used a lot of the big pictures from that comic book,
Mhm.
like an Endgame when the Hulk is holding up the Avengers mansion.
Yeah.
They're all under there. That's from
Hmm.
that book because there's like a mountain that's falling on, like the idea of like the Hulk, like so they use stuff. So who knows what's gonna happen? And then again,
Right.
there's gonna be like 5 Spider-Men.
Hmm.
There's gonna be a Wolverine. There's gonna be all this stuff. So I mean, these guys are pretty good. The Russos are pretty good. If anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be those guys. It's not going to be some writer from like the CW like that they've been doing for the past 4 years. So
The Russos did Winter Soldier, right?
yes, Winter
And both
Soldier,
in
Civil
and
War, and then the last
and
2 Avengers movies.
yeah. So 3 out of the 4 of those were great. I didn't like Endgame, but they did Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes,
And then Winter Soldier was arguably the best MCU movie ever made. For some
I mean
people,
you have a
some
beef
people
with
don't think that.
Endgame, and we kind of did it last week, but that
Yeah,
is way better than anything that they've done in the last 5 years.
agreed.
Like
Hundred
leaps and
percent,
bounds.
I
Okay,
agree.
because it's not all
Yeah,
bad. I
no,
like
of
that
course
movie
not.
through and through. Okay, just
Yeah, I
wanted to
just
didn't want to paint a
as
target on your back for the
no,
listeners.
as far as finales go, that's a decent finale. It's a decent finale. There's lots of things in it that I absolutely love. It wasn't as perfect as Infinity War to me was a perfect superhero movie in all aspects. It was A New Hope, not A New Hope. It was the Empire. It was the Empire Strikes Back.
Yes,
The good
perfect.
guys lose, everyone's depressed, like there's stakes, and you
Yes.
can't wait to see the resolution to it. Right? That was the Empire Strikes Back in a nutshell. And
All things you wish you'd said after watching The Rings of Power. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so yeah, Endgame just fell short for me with the way they handled some characters. But that, you know what? That. It was still like you said, it was way better than anything they've done recently. Way better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. I loved seeing Toby back in the costume. He did a great job, and they did the right thing by him, and that's why that movie works so well. Right? That movie, was it No Way Home? Is that one?
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Yes.
No Way Home did the right thing by all three Spider-Man, right? They made Toby the wise Spider-Man. They made
He gets
Andrew
to be Uncle Ben.
he gets to be Uncle Ben, right? And as he should, because
Yeah.
he's the best one. Andrew Garfield is the one that has to redeem himself because he let his girl die in the movie, or not let his girl die, but he failed Gwen in that movie, and he got to save Gwen in this one, kind of MJ in this one, right? And Tom Holland was the one who was the green Spider-Man who had to learn from everybody, and they did it right. And because they could have made that poor, because I don't like what they did to Peter Parker in the cartoons, in the Miles Morales cartoons. Like he's like some schlep that walks around in sweatpants all day. Like that's not Peter Parker. You know what I mean? Like what's that one called? Into the Spider-Verse. Great movies. I really enjoy those movies. I really do.
Awesome.
They look fantastic. The storyline is good. I just don't like it's not a Peter Parker movie, so I don't try to get too focused on that because it's a Miles movie, but I don't like what they did with Peter there. It's kind of weird that he walks around like a friggin' hobo for some reason, and he never has a mask on. That bothers me. But besides that, yeah. So I don't know how I feel. They lost me. MCU kind of lost me with the last 5 years of crap that I'm not going to watch in order to watch these new movies. So if they require me to go back into Disney Plus and watch Agatha and watch Loki and watch what's the new one? There's a new one coming out with I never watched the Marvels. I never
watched Black Widow.
I watched Black Widow. That was fine. I didn't find anything wrong with that.
I worked at a movie theater that summer, so every time I got out of there, I was like not looking forward to spending 2 more hours there and my own money. So
yeah,
I didn't see
the Eternals.
No.
I didn't see the most recent Thor movie. I didn't see the most recent Guardians movie.
I saw Guardians, but it was after I played golf, so I like fell asleep for like 20 minutes. It had nothing to do with the movie. I was just tired.
Yeah. And I heard Guardians was decent. I heard Guardians was a decent movie. But
there's one scene that I think you'd really like. I won't spoil it for you, but it's a little like
I'm not gonna watch it. You can spoil it.
There's like one scene, and it's kind of like James Gunn talking to the audience through Star-Lord.
Okay.
And they're like, because like in Endgame, they bring back that different Gamora that's not in love with Peter Quill because it doesn't know him. She doesn't know him.
Right.
And he's like, they're talking to like some guy that they get captured or whatever, and he's like, so what's your relationship with the girl? You guys like thing? He's like, well, actually I was in love with a variant universe version of her, but then she died, so now I'm just stuck with this one. Basically saying, well, it's basically him just being like, I had this whole story and you just ruined it.
Right. Now I'm gonna take what I can get.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, like she doesn't like me very much, we're not together.
Poor Peter.
Yeah. He's on Earth now, by the way.
What's he doing?
He's hanging out with his uncle.
Who's his uncle?
His uncle that took care of him for all of 3 minutes before he allowed him to get abducted by aliens when his mom died.
Oh.
He's in the second one, too. He's been in all 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah, briefly. So he's just eating cereal with him. And then it said Star-Lord will return on the title.
Oh. Okay.
So he'll be back. He'll be part of the Earth crew in the next movie, so that'll be good.
Okay. If you say so. We'll see what happens. What else you got for me?
I got 2 other things, but Oasis, I think, is due up. Because you're very pumped about this.
Oh, man. I am so pumped for this.
So this is a famous breakup, right? These guys, because they were kind of on top of the world.
I don't know if it's a famous breakup or if they're famous for breaking up.
Because they
I
have
think
Wonderwall.
there's a difference there because you can be. I think the breakup of the Beatles was, oh my God, that's a famous breakup. This
Yes.
group is just famous for breaking up multiple times all the time. You know, it's not a shock that they break up. Put it that way.
Yeah.
This is not the first. They've broken up numerous times, especially at the height of their popularity.
But this is the
Wonderwall is,
longest hiatus, right?
oh yeah, yeah, big time, big time. I've seen them. I want to say I've seen them twice live. I saw I saw them at Madison Square Garden with my buddy Joe and Jet. I don't know if you remember the band Jet. They sang a song called Cold Hard Bitch. And they also did a song. They got popular. They were like the first song ever used by Apple to like promote iPods, like at the beginning. You would know the song if you heard it. If you heard the song Cold Hard Bitch, you would know exactly what it is. Um, I saw them then, and then I saw them again. I want to say I saw them in Jersey, or they might have been Madison Square Garden again. But they were great every time I seen them. I saw Noel, who is the brother of the lead singer. The person you hear all the time is Liam. He's kooky. Noel is the guy who wrote and writes all the songs and writes all the lyrics. He has his own band now called the High Flying Birds, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. And I got to say, I hate them. Like it's really like kind of trippy and slow, kind of drony music where Oasis is a rock band. You know, like the first two Oasis albums are friggin' rock band songs. And they're they're one of those bands that people either love or they hate. It's one of those kind of things. You know, people either love Oasis or people friggin' hate Oasis. And me and my friend group that I grew up with, going to college with, Joe, Mike, and Sebi, we all love Oasis, which is very rare that you find two people that love Oasis in the same friend group. Um, but yeah, we can't. I listen to them all the time. Like I have all their vinyl.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm part of their like little fan club where I get the emails that whenever they're going to do another, you know, whenever they're going to release another album, kind of like a reprint of on a vinyl or something like that. So we got the news that Oasis. I forgot to bring that up. Let me do that. We got the news that Oasis is going to be making a comeback, so to speak. Guess somebody needs the money. So basically, on the left here, okay, the one with the less hair, that's Liam Gallagher, and that's his brother on the right, Noel Gallagher. And Liam is the singer. He's the one. He's the voice you hear on all the big hits. And you know, Noel's on the right. He's the one who makes all the songs and writes all the songs. He's famous for basically ripping other people's songs off and putting his own words over them. So he gets a bad rap for that. He's
That's not
notorious for
cool.
doing
That's
that.
why.
But you know, like if you listen to like songs from the 60s and 70s, everyone did that. Like there are Beatles songs that are ripoffs of Chuck Berry or ripoffs of Little Richard or ripoffs of, you know, Bob Dylan, you know, and that people were kind of okay with that back in the day. And, you know, he continues to do it now. A lot of people are mad at him about it. Some people aren't. I love this band. They're only doing shows though. They only release shows in England and in Ireland next summer. So guess who's on the pre-sale list?
Oh,
This
yeah,
guy.
you'd go?
Dude, I am going to buy as many tickets as they allow me to buy for the Manchester shows in England. And this is going to be my first ever trip to Europe. I've never been to Europe before.
I did it
And
this
I
winter.
will. Oh yeah, how'd you like it? Where'd you go?
I went by myself in February, and I had an awesome time.
Wow.
I went for
Did you go
5
there
whole
for like
days.
work or something?
No, I was between jobs. I'd never been, and I just said, "All right, well, I don't think there's ever going
Hmm.
to be this long a period of time where I'm going to get to go for like 5 days by myself uninterrupted." So I did it.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah, I've
London.
never.
It was fun.
Yeah, I've never been there. Playing Wembley Stadium, which is in London. Um, like we start. Like my job is kind of like cyclical. So like I can't work for certain. There are certain months that I can't work, and certain months that work better for me. So the the Manchester dates, the early dates are going to be the ones that really work for me. So I'm going to try and get tickets. And if I can't, let's say I can't go and people don't want to go with me, because my buddies Joe, Mike, and Seb all say they want to go, but then I know for a fact that at the last minute, half of them will say, well, then they're not going to go. And I don't care if they get mad at me when they hear that, but because they're going to listen to this tomorrow. But let's say I can't go, I'm going to sell these for a mint.
Yeah.
If I get 6 tickets to Oasis in Manchester for their reunion, I'm gonna I'll make a fortune. I don't know if you ever hear. There's a country singer called Zach Bryan.
Yes, I know him. He's one of the guys with the 2 first names. He's one of 8 of them.
Oh my god! And they're all named Zach. There's Zach Brown. There's Zach Bryan. There's another Zach. Something.
Zach Levine. No.
I don't know him, but Zach Bryan is a enormous country singer. And I was lucky enough to get 4 tickets to see him in Nashville and couldn't go. Like the night came around and like just couldn't go. And I sold those for double. So I made like $800. And I probably could have sold them for more, but I just wanted to get rid of them. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for this. Now you might only know Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova, but they have so many good songs, so many good big hits that they had back in the 90s. And they took the world by storm. Your guess
was right on the money. Those are the only 2 songs I know.
Yeah, I would not. The casual listener of Oasis is only going to know those songs. They might know. Oh man, I could sing the song. I don't know if I could name the song. So Sally can wait. You probably know that song too. But they got lots of good tunes, man. Lots of good stuff. Very influential band on other bands as well. You know who's very good friends with them is Coldplay. Very good friends with Oasis. I don't know if you know them at all. They were big when you were in high school. Yeah, them you know.
I know Coldplay.
Yeah. So they
got that one about the bells of St. Peter or whatever. Viva La Vida.
Viva La Vida. Yeah, that's one of their later things.
Got Clocks.
Clocks. Yeah, Yellow is a big one.
Yep.
Yeah, Yellow is a very big one. But you definitely know some Oasis songs. I would bet you do. They're in movies and stuff.
I mean, Wonderwall is a very, very popular song.
The Wonderwall's almost.
Maybe you could help me out with this.
That's almost like a meme at this point.
Yes, it is.
But
there's like a movie. I've been trying to find it forever. Mm-hmm. It's like there's like some karaoke scene, and they're like, oh, what songs do you have? They're like everything but Wonderwall. We don't do Wonderwall anymore. I just can't remember what it's from. It's been driving me nuts.
I do kind of remember that. I will try to think of it as we speak.
I might be confusing it with Wayne's World.
That's everything but Stairway to Heaven.
Yes. He's in the music store and it's like, oh, can I play any song on the guitar? Anything but Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Anything but Wonderwall.
I couldn't crack it. I mean, it's been driving me nuts. I'm usually really, really good at finding stuff like this too.
Yeah. Everything Sucks. Is that a movie? No.
Sounds like something you'd write.
Yeah. That's true. That's so true. See, that's how bad like modern music is. I have to friggin' try to go see these friggin' old geezers in England so I can enjoy life once again. Can't enjoy life just listening to the radio anymore. God, it's awful. Music is so bad.
No, but it's not good. I like Pink.
Why?
I like that music. It's good. I like Pink. I like Lord. I like
No, you don't. You like Billie Eilish too? You friggin' you do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's good. Anything that we say
like Harry Styles?
No, him I don't like. Anything that we say that's not cool is brought to you by Stanford College. We both went there. We're both very powerful alumni. Any complaints you got, just take them up with Stanford.
Yeah, the tree people.
We didn't go to Stanford.
No, definitely not. They did not look
touch us with a.
They didn't see my essay. Yeah, my essay teachers didn't.
No, they wouldn't touch us with a 10-foot. What is it? 10-foot cattle prod is the line.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's driving me nuts. Yeah, no, we didn't go to Stanford.
All right,
but still, send them letters.
Why? What do you have against Stanford?
Nothing. My brother went there. So
did he?
He went there for business school.
Oh,
and I love my brother, but it would be funny if they wrote an angry letter about this podcast to Stanford University, a very prestigious college. The last thing then is The Crow that you wanted to get deep into.
Okay. So this is, I want to talk about this. So I'm not sure if anybody knows. I know, Matt, you should know this. You should know how much I love The Crow.
I do know you love it it checks all the boxes for you.
Yes. And it's real funny because I was watching a review. The movie just came out. This movie, The Crow, the remake of this movie, just came out. And I was watching one of my favorite, YouTubers review the movie. And my wife is sitting next to me and she's like, I've never seen this movie. That's the one with Brendan Lee in it, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, you've never seen it? She goes, no. I was obsessed with this movie when I was 12 years old because it came out in 1994. And I was 12 years old. And typically I don't like dark, weird, creepy movies. Like Batman 89, I love, but it creeps me out. And I was only like 7 when that movie came out. And like I don't like Tim Burton style movies. And if you watch the original Crow, it's very dark and gross and Gotham City like. And there's like horrible things going on in the city. But it's different because the city that it's in kind of takes a life of its own. It becomes a character almost, right? The city itself is a character. And for those of you who don't know what The Crow is, it was a comic book. I never read the comic book, and I only found out it was a comic book from the review that I was listening to the other day. But the original movie it's a cult classic. I don't think it did well as far as making money in the movie theater, but people that like this movie absolutely love it, and has a cult following. Basically, the story in a really quick summary. Brendan Lee plays a guy named Eric Draven. Him and his wife get murdered on Halloween Eve, which is called Devil's Night. Okay. And in this city that they live in, this horrible Gotham City like place, on Devil's Night, there's all these fires that people cause, and stores are getting looted and people are getting mugged. It's like the worst night in the world in this particular city. And there's like some like I forget what city it was. I don't know if it's in Detroit somewhere. It's somewhere in Michigan, I think. They do this like in real life. There's like a Devil's Night in America somewhere where they set fires, and like it's a horrible night for policemen and all this stuff. So I think that's where they took like the background for it. But on that night, Eric Draven and his wife get horribly murdered in their apartment building. The wife gets raped like 5 times by 5 different people. The guy, Brendan Lee's character, gets thrown out a freaking window and dies. And the whole point of the movie is that there are certain crimes that are so horrific that there's a crow that normally takes your soul to the afterlife. But sometimes if like the thing is so horrible and horrific that the crow won't take your soul, so that your soul can stay on earth and avenge the wrong that was done. Right. So this crow that's supposed to take Eric's soul to the netherworld or wherever it takes it in this world that they live in, gives him his life back. Essentially, he crawls out of his own grave and just goes on a revenge tour and kills all the people that killed him and his wife. And he has superpowers because of the crow. So like he can get shot and he heals automatically like Wolverine, and when he touches things, like you learn, it takes you, that whole murder scene happens within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Like the movie opens up, it's Halloween, it's a Devil's Night, fires, raping, murder, all in 10 minutes. Like you're in, like you are fully in the movie within 10 minutes. And you see the crow the whole time. The crow is always present. It's in the rain. It's, and I love revenge movies, right? I hate movies about bullies, but I love movies about revenge, right? So I don't like mafia movies because mafia guys are bullies, right? I don't like movies that deal with like, do you ever see some like the movie where people get stranded on the side of the road and some creepy guy pulls up and says, "Hey, you need some help?" And then they torture the poor couple for like 2 hours,
or something like that.
Yeah. I hate those kind of movies, right? It makes me feel so icky to watch those movies. But I love a revenge movie. I love John Wick. I love The Crow. what other Rambo, like all these revenge movies where it's just a guy making something wrong right again. And that's what The Crow is. So like whenever he touches one of the people that raped his wife, he can see through his wife's eyes the raping happen. Like, and that's how you learn about the murder. Like, you don't see a lot of the murder. You see the guys breaking in, you see them grab her and throw her down and throw him out a window, and then the police are there, after the scene is over. And you learn about stuff through him touching things. He finds her wedding ring in like their old apartment, and it shows you a flashback of them getting married and falling in love. And that's how you learn about them. It's a really good film. And it treats the audience like they're smart and like they're capable of putting things together without being told things. And that's something that I think modern movies are really lacking. Like, I don't think they trust the audience to be smart enough to put together pieces of a puzzle. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything in a modern movie is like told to you in these really awkward dialogue sentences that they're not needed. Like, I didn't need you to tell me that. I could have just looked at something and made an inference that that thing is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? But this movie makes you think. It gives you things to think about. The new movie, they changed everything. I was kind of excited for this movie because it's a movie that I like, but I was also really, really scared to watch this movie because I know it's 2024 and they're going to fuck it up.
I also like this guy too, Skarsgård. He's a good actor.
Cool dude. I liked him in It. I think that's the only thing I've seen him in. What else is he? I might have seen.
He's like a couple like it really might be it though. He's in a couple other horror movies. He's in Deadpool.
He's in John Wick. He's in John Wick 4.
The last John Wick. Yeah. Yeah,
I like him. He's good. But they changed everything to where the first half hour of this movie is how he meets he plays Eric Draven, right? So he plays the husband of the murdered couple. Now, in the original Crow, they're together. They're getting married. Their relationship has been going on for a while. You know this in the first 5 seconds of the movie. It takes a half an hour for him to meet the girl in like a psychiatric ward of a prison. So him and the girl meet in a prison. And then she gets murdered by a mafia guy because she was sent a text message. Spoiler alert for The Crow. She gets sent a text message by accident of something she wasn't supposed to see by a mafia person. So the mafia snuffs her out because she's seen things. You know what I'm saying?
They bully her. They do your least favorite thing.
Right. And I don't mind the bullying happening in the movie of the revenge movie, because that has to happen, right? You're not going to get the revenge without the bullying, right? But when the whole movie's about the bullying, it bothers me. But that's why are we doing this? They took the rape out of it. Now, I'm not advocating for rape, okay? I'm not saying we need more rape in movies. Please, people out there, do not get that out of what I'm saying.
It's a testament to Devil's Night and how horrible this thing is.
Exactly. The Crow kept this guy's soul on Earth because of how horrible his wife was treated during that murder, right? And that's why the rape scenes are important in that movie. And here,
it gives it stakes. Yes,
it gives it stakes. It gives it, and it's, oh man, like, you're not married. I'm married, but you've had girlfriends. Think about your girlfriend or your wife or whatever being treated that way, right?
I would be upset, I would imagine.
The anger and oh my God, that you would want to rip people apart limb by limb by limb, right? Not to say that if a mob guy killed your wife, you wouldn't be, but it makes it that much more visceral, to have something that personal and
it
intimate.
Makes the revenge more weighty.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. And the whole movie, the original, the entire thing after the first 10 minutes is him picking off one guy after another. And it's great.
I ask you, in the original, he's like a normal dude in the beginning, right?
He's just a dude who's in a band with his girlfriend living in an apartment in Gotham City.
That like makes it better because it's like he's a human. He's a normal guy. Like,
Yeah.
instead of this guy who's already in a psychiatric ward, like,
He's in a
what do you,
prison
yeah, he's a prisoner. Like, that's a different. It's not the same story.
in a
You're
co-ed
giving a
prison, by the
normal
way.
person a chance to just let loose
Right.
because these people did something eternally egregious, you know.
Right.
So
And he's
so
not with her
they
that
ruined
long.
something.
Like, he met her in the prison, and then they get out of the prison, and then she dies. Like, it's not like he had this it's not like he forged this amazing relationship with her of love and caring and all this stuff. They're both criminals, they're both ex-cons, and they escape the prison. They don't even, like, get out on bail. They escape prison. So they're fugitives. Like, why am I rooting for them? Not for nothing, but they should be probably wiped out. Like, I think the world might be better without these two people.
I like you. I like the image of you sitting on your couch with your popcorn, like, where the hell are the police in this matter? What's going on? Where are they?
Now, one other thing that was really different was the visuals. Okay, so the first movie is almost unwatchable for some people because it's almost entirely in the dark. If you've seen the last episode of Game of Thrones season 8 and you complained about the dark, this was darker. Okay, imagine Game of Thrones season 8 last episode, but with a flashing light in the back that just lit the side of somebody's face every 2 seconds, like a strobe light, because they're in like some club in this weird crazy city. My wife was like, I can't watch this, Steve. I can't watch this. And I'm like, come on, it's not that bad. It can't be that bad. And she's like, I can't watch it. And she fell asleep. This movie, the new one, it's like all in the daylight, and it totally changes the whole vibe of the movie. The entire
Which
movie
is
has changed.
weird because shooting
Yeah,
in the dark is way cheaper. So that means it costs more money to shoot it in
yeah,
the light. So someone that was wrong thought that
yeah,
was a good idea.
yeah. So my review of the new Crow movie is a big old F, 2 thumbs down, big old F,
Two.
and yeah, and don't go see it. Don't give them your money. If you want to see it, buy a ticket for another movie and go see this one. If that's what you want to
If
do,
you
or
want to
just wait
see it,
for it to come out on TV.
leave a comment in the YouTube link, and we'll tell you how to illegally stream. We'll do that.
Get a super box. They sell super box on Amazon. You can buy it legally and hook it up to your television. I don't know how it's allowed. I don't know how the powers that be allow this to be, but go on Amazon, type in super box and order it. It's $300. You'll never have to pay for cable again. What else you got, Matt?
So the last thing, and this is quick, just because I thought it might set it. It has contextually, it has something to do with what we're going to talk about with Rings of Power, and you're going to think that I'm crazy to start with it. But Glenn Powell will be starring in the Chad Powers movie, and you have no idea what this is, right?
No clue what this is.
So I want to get on Glenn Powell and just give him a little bit of a round of applause because he's just
I
been
love
awesome
Glenn Powell.
the
Yeah, he's
last couple
awesome.
of years. He's having a great time. But Chad Powers was a skit that they did on SNL or ESPN where they had Eli Manning
Uh-huh.
in makeup and like fake hair, and they sent him to like a Division II college,
Okay.
like during like walk on tryouts, and he's like, I think obviously it's Eli Manning, and he's just throwing complete dimes, and these kids are like, what's happening? And it's Eli Manning. So
Yeah.
because Ted Lasso was a hit, now Glenn Powell as Chad Powers needs an entire feature picture because we're just
That's
out of
what this
ideas.
is?
We're
That's what this
out of
is.
ideas.
So
Yeah.
is Glenn Powell playing Eli Manning?
I have
Playing
that.
Chad Powers?
We haven't gotten that far, but I think he's playing. I believe he's just playing Chad Powers. I don't believe he's playing Eli Manning. I think he's playing the character that Eli Manning is playing. So he's the second person
Is
to
there
play
any
Chad Powers.
background on what this is going to be?
Yes, I mean it's going to be like it was a skit. Was that like?
So
It's like
is Glenn Powell going to play a 40-year-old going back to high school to play football?
I really hope so.
Oh God, that would be great.
I think
It'll
that
kind
would
of be
be
like, have you ever seen Unnecessary Roughness?
no.
Oh God. Hold on. Unnecessary Roughness is one of my favorite movies. If I
Is
can't
this for
spell
like a
unnecessary.
90s comedy?
Yes, with Sinbad. I
Mm.
can't spell unnecessary. You have to see how I spelled unnecessary. Wow, I was way off. All right, so here it's Scott Bakula. Hold on, I
I've
gotta just
remembered.
open
Yeah, Scott Bakula from
from
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap, baby. This is 2 episodes in a row. We got a Quantum Leap reference. Okay, so this is one of my favorite sports movies.
Oh my God,
If I had to,
Robert Loggia?
dude, star-studded cast. Sinbad, Scott Bakula, Kathy Ireland, who was like, oh man, who can I compare her to today? Who's the girl who's gonna play Black Cat?
Uh, oh,
Oh, the new chick. She was in the Spider-Verse movie, Madam Web movie. The big old cans on this
that's
one.
Sydney Sweeney is who you're
Sydney
talking about.
Sweeney. Yes, thank you. She she Kathy Ireland was like the Sydney Sweeney of the time. Okay. And this movie is Scott Bakula, who's a washed up ranch hand in Texas. He's like 40 something years old, and he has like 1 year of eligibility left to play football at this college. I forget what college it was for this movie. But the coach the football program at this college is tanking, and the coach remembers Scott Bakula from way back in the day and says, "We need you, man. We need you to be on the team and bring us back to glory." And he's just old, and his back hurts, and his arm hurts, and he needs ice all the time. And all the young kids are making fun of him, and he has to go back to college. He has to be a student. He has to enroll back in college, and it's so good. This is such a good '90s comedy, man. You got to watch it. But I hope this is what Chad Powers is going to be, something like
Just
this.
how much Robert Loggia are we talking here?
Which one's Robert Loggia?
He's like he's always like, "Hey, how are you? I'm Robert Loggia." He used to be in the Tropicana. He used to be in the Tropicana orange juice commercials.
Robert, how do you spell Loggia?
Loggia. It's on the second row in the middle.
Okay, there it is. Let me see. Oh, he's great.
He plays
He's the
Feech
coach.
LaManna in The Sopranos. He's the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the coach of the football team.
Okay, this
You
is
see a lot of
excellent
them.
news.
Yeah, you see a
This
lot
is
of them.
excellent.
The funny one is the guy who plays the dean. I forget the guy who plays the dean. You know him because you went to film school, so you know all these people. Let's see.
These are some of my favorite people, to be honest with you. Oh, Larry Miller. Who's this guy? I'm trying to see what he's in that I know.
I forget what his name was.
Is it Dean Philip Elias?
Dean Elias. Yes. Yes, Dean Elias. He plays such a tool. And everybody, yeah. He's you ever see Major League?
I love Major League.
Okay, so you know the girl who's trying to bring down the team?
Yeah.
She buys the Indians and then wants to ruin the team on purpose. Dean Elias is trying to ruin the football team for his own gain.
I love Major League so much.
Yeah.
I have a Ricky Vaughn jersey.
Do you? Wild
yeah,
Thing?
I'm a huge Wild Thing fan, man.
You will love this. This is the college football version of Major League.
I can't wait to watch this after work tomorrow. I'm so thrilled.
There's no better way to describe that movie than college football version of Major League.
There's no meat on the bone. It's just all business.
There is meat on the bone. There's substance to this movie because everyone learns something. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying there's no fat. It's just right down to it. We're doing Necessary Roughness. We're doing Sinbad.
We're
doing Jason
Kathy
Bateman.
Ireland. We're doing the hot chick. And she plays the kicker because she's like on the soccer team at the college and they need a kicker. And she's the only one who knows how to kick. It's so
great news.
Yes. I'm so glad this came up. God bless Glenn Powell and Chad Powers for bringing up unnecessary roughness. And unnecessary is spelled UNNECESSARY, just so you know.
This is necessary roughness.
This is necessary roughness. Yes, that is the irony of the title. Necessary, because there's a penalty in football called unnecessary roughness. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
So that was leading us to our main topic.
Don't know how that led us in there. But
My thought process was that we're just so out of ideas, and this writer's room, they were out of ideas, I think, in the first 7 minutes. I mean, what's the Elvish word for meh? I mean, it just sucked.
so
Until listen, there's a couple good moments, but all in all, this was like I honestly looked because I watched it today. If
mhm.
there was a feature on Amazon where you could put it on double playback speed, I would have done that. That is how
I
dreadfully
hope
slow I found this.
I hope that the audience realizes what you did for them today. That sacrifice that you made to watch 8 episodes of this trash in one day just so they can hear your commentary.
I started
Like,
my day with this. I didn't get when I woke up, I turned over, I turned off Frasier, put on put on Rings of Power episode 1, pulled
yeah.
my blind open, and this was like, if I don't start it now, I'm not going to
Mhm.
start it.
Yeah.
So then it just go.
So I watched this when it came out, and I watched it episode it started off with 2 episodes, then it was weekly after that, and I watched every episode, and every episode I texted my friends, and I was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen," and they kept saying to me, "Stop watching it. Stop watching it. Stop watching it." I'm like, "I can't because this is one thing that I love so much that I gotta see it till the end. I gotta see it through and see what happens." Right? Lord of the Rings, I said it on the last episode, is one of my favorite IPs. It's the best movie trilogy ever made. In my opinion, there is no movie trilogy stronger than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Return of the Jedi has its issues, right? So that brings the Star Wars original trilogy down a little bit from
It's that
beginning
or
to
Toy
end.
Story.
Yeah, Toy Story is really good.
I'm
I
honestly
don't,
going
I
to
don't
say
think
it's that Toy Story.
I don't think 3 was necessary, but 3 was a great movie. 3 was a great. Was that the one where they're going down the conveyor belt of flames?
Yeah, and everyone's crying
Yeah.
hysterically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that one was needed, but it was still very, very good and very impactful. But Toy Story, I like that, Matt. I like where you're going with that. But here's the thing with this show. I had to go into this show, and as I was trying to write, I wrote a whole bunch of notes that I forgot on my desk, but I'm trying to remember them. But I have to go into this review with the idea that changing the story from the book cannot impact how I view the show. Okay. Because lots of movies change the book and they still hold up, including the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. There are lots of things in the books that did not make it to the movies, lots of characters that got switched or changed or altered timelines, things like that. So I'm not going to fault the movie for not following the book because I am not, like I mentioned last week, I am not that guy. I don't know the lore enough to judge it based on that. And it would be wrong for me to say this show sucks because this didn't happen in the book. Okay. So I got to be fair and just put that out there that I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to rip this show for being boring and for not getting the characters correct. Now, there's a difference between saying they didn't do what the book did and getting the characters wrong. The essence of the characters were portrayed properly in the Peter Jackson movies. If you read the books, the way Peter Jackson described the different species of peoples on Middle Earth, then it was valid and correct. He got the essence of these characters. I don't think this show did. Right? How do you feel about that?
It's yeah, I would say that like the biggest glaring one I think is probably the best starting point is just to talk about Galadriel. N-
Horrible.
Nothing. There's moments of it, but there is very little that would be consistent from what I understood about her in the original stuff to what I saw on the camera. Like from the first scene, if Galadriel doesn't want to be on that boat back, she's not on the
Mhm.
boat. She just,
She was sent on the boat because she was being punished.
but she wouldn't listen.
No, of
She
course
she
not.
doesn't. She's the White Witch. She doesn't care.
Right.
That's not who that character is.
For
And for the first 4 episodes, she's like enslaved and put in jail like 5 different times.
because
That's
she's a
just not.
horrible person to deal with. Like
Yeah.
she waltzes. Let's just kind of give a review of what's going on here, right? So for those of you who have seen Lord of the Rings, the movies, you know that there's a bad guy named Sauron. He had a ring that controlled all of the life on Middle Earth. It controlled other rings. That's why this is called the Rings of Power, right? So there were certain rings given to the elves, there were certain rings given to the dwarves, there were certain rings given to the men. And Sauron secretly made this one ring to rule all the other rings and control all of Middle Earth. Well, they had a big war, and the elves and the men fought against Sauron and his orcs. They got the ring, or they took the ring away from him, and then the ring was lost for many, many years, where the movies pick up, right? And the whole point of the 3 movies is, how can we destroy the ring before Sauron, the bad guy, gets the ring back, and then we have to have another war. That's the whole trilogy. And the whole 3 movies is Frodo and Sam taking the ring back to Mordor, which is where the ring was made, because that's the only place it can be destroyed, and throwing it back into the fire of the volcano. While that's going on, you have fights and battles and things between other people that are all very, very important. But the big part of this whole thing is that they have to destroy the ring. This show, The Rings of Power on Amazon, is about how those rings were made, how the rings for the dwarves were made, the elves, the men, and essentially, or eventually, the One Ring, how that One Ring was made by Sauron. So just to give everybody a heads up about that, right? So season 1 is all about Galadriel, who we see in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, searching out and trying to destroy Sauron. That's her whole mission. The show opens up with her leading a pack of, or not a pack, but like a group of soldiers searching out for Sauron in some place in Middle Earth. And then they get into fights or whatever. But that's the whole show. The whole show is her trying to find Sauron. And the problem is, in the books, she's not made to be like a warrior. She's first of all, that she's an elf, right? And the elves, in my opinion, are these perfect beings that look very distinct from other beings, right? They're all supposed to be like tall and fair and blonde hair, long blonde hair, and move very gracefully and talk and speak very gracefully and be very civilized. And they're the best of the best as far as, beings go in this world. And I don't think they captured that at all, because I think one thing that I noticed when I was making my notes is how many characters there are that you have to keep track of. It's insane.
In my head, I had were you like the Office guy?
I love The Office. Yeah.
You remember when Michael Scott is he's doing the lecture circuit and he's telling people like how he remembers people's names?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, mole, sugar tits, bad haircut. Like that's what he says. That's where your head has to be at, because you're not going to remember anybody's name.
I don't know the black elf's name. I call him Don Lemon. I don't know his name, but he looks very much like Don Lemon, so I call him Don Lemon.
And you know what? It's not your fault, because they probably said it once.
Right.
I can't. Frodo's name is said probably 300 times in 3 movies.
Right.
Master Frodo, Frodo this, Frodo that. You have no idea.
Think of the characters that you need to know about in the Lord of the Rings. You need to know about Frodo and Sam, Gandalf, Legolas,
Aragorn.
Gimli, and Aragorn. That's it.
And Sauron.
There are other,
That's it.
And Sauron. You don't need. There are lots of other characters, right? There's Boromir. There's Faramir. There's
King Theoden. Arwen, Erwin.
Yeah, the Gondor guy. What was his name? What was the Gondor king ruler? Forget his name.
It's Boromir's dad.
Boromir's dad. Gollum. You got to know Gollum. But
you got to know Gollum.
You could name all those on 2 hands, right? In this show, within 2 episodes, you have to know female Frodo and Sam. I don't know their names. I'm just going to call them female Frodo and Sam. The Harfoot girls,
Yes, the Hardy,
right?
the Hardy boys.
Yeah. So you got like dime store hobbits because they're not allowed to use
Like her name
hobbits.
is
So they have
Poppy. One of them's name is Poppy, and the other one's name is again. I watch it today. I'm
Poppy
not
and
going to
Seed.
remember tomorrow. Poppy and
Yeah.
Poppy and Seed,
Poppy and Seed and Sesame and Seed.
Cinnamon Raisin. Yeah, the whole gang.
Yeah. You got those two. You have Elrond. You got Galadriel.
The other dwarf.
Celeborn, Gilgalad. There's so many people that you got to keep track of. The Bronwyn is the girl who's dating Don Lemon. That's another thing. That's what ruined the Hobbit trilogy for me, was the love story between the elf and the dwarf. Like, why is there a love story going on? You've seen the Hobbit trilogy, right?
When it came out, I had no interest in watching them past first viewing.
Well, there's a female elf that I think is like Legolas's cousin or Legolas's sister. She's a smoke show, redheaded elf. Friggin' unbelievable.
Oh, I'm remembering this.
Yes. Falls in love with some doofy dwarf. And like they have this like little romance. And it's like, why are we doing this? This takes away from the movie. This takes away from the whole point. Like, first of all, you shouldn't make 3 movies out of this.
I don't like it because when it is like at the end by the I think episode 3 in my notes I wrote like this is just sexless. Like there's nothing like you need some. There was nothing. There was no.
Well, this is your generation's fault. Your generation doesn't like sex in movies and romance in movies anymore.
But Don, I can't keep calling him Don Lemon. I got to find out this guy's name.
No, I'm going to call him Don Lemon. We need more boobs in movies, Matt. Just saying.
The Rings of Power. But that character and the girl who you just mentioned,
Bronwyn.
I wrote next to them, I said, charisma vacuum. Their scenes together were horrible.
They're terrible.
But when by the end, like when they do kiss, I'm like, I'm not asking like, oh, are they going to kiss? Like out of curiosity because I care. I was like, I can't even tell if they're romantically interested in one another.
Yeah.
He was so boring. He's so boring. He does the thing is about him, he's the only one that does actual cool elf stuff. Like he's like hopping off chains and swords and he's like catching arrows. He's the only one that was enabled to do the stuff that we like Legolas for.
Right.
But again, he was. I'm not even sure if this guy's probably a fine actor, but he was given nothing to do.
Oh yeah. It's not the actor. I'm totally going off on this with character and story, and Halbrand. Halbrand is and spoiler alerts. We're doing this just so you can get caught up to watch season 2, but Sauron is hiding. Sauron is. You got to remember. Like I deep dived into this after I watched the original movies, right? After I watched the original movies, I started reading the books and I started getting into this. Sauron is a very powerful entity in Middle Earth. He's no slouch. He's kind of like the devil in the sense that he was kind of cast out in a way because
and he's been around as long as God has, and he's been he's devious.
Yeah, he was a pretty powerful being that was kind of cast out. So he's not the original bad guy in Lord of the Rings. The original bad guy is a guy named Morgoth, who tried to take over the elves and all this lore behind him. And Sauron was like his right-hand man. Sauron was the right-hand man of Morgoth, the original bad guy. And the original bad guy was beaten, and Sauron kind of went into hiding, and now he's coming out of hiding, right? And in the books, he disguises himself as people to get close to the elves so that he can make the rings. Okay, because there's a guy in the Rings of Power show named Celebrimbor. He looks like he's an older guy in the show, and he's the master forger. He makes all the weaponry. He makes all of the architecture. He's like the maker or the forger of the elves. He's the greatest of all of the the silversmiths or metalsmiths in all of elven history. And he's a moron in this show. He's an absolute idiot. And that's what they got them. They got the characters so wrong. Like, if you take Sauron, right? You take the bad guy, and he has the ability to manipulate someone who's extremely intelligent. It makes him more powerful to the viewer than if he can manipulate an idiot, right?
Yes. Like when
If
he
you
got
can
inside Galadriel's head, like
Yeah.
it was very persuasive because you really
Yeah.
didn't know, like, is this fully him or she having a hallucination or a moment? Like that was a good scene. I gotta say though, it did pick up by the end. The last 3 or 4 are
Mhm.
again, I watched it all in one day. By
Yeah.
the end, I was like, okay, this is a lot better.
It sucked.
This is the roster. It sucked.
Yeah.
But I did like the but back on Sauron. Let's stay on him.
Yeah. So
But also that character sucked the whole season because it was just fake Aragorn.
which guy was fake Aragorn?
Sauron. The guy
No.
that they got to play him just looks like Viggo Mortensen.
Are
And
you
he
thinking
was-
of Isildur's dad? Are you thinking of the Numenorian guy? Because I think he looks like Aragorn.
No,
Elendil.
I'm saying the guy that played Sauron.
Okay.
Hal,
Yeah, okay.
Halbrand.
Yeah, Halbrand. You think he looks like Aragorn? I don't think so.
I think
He's a
so
handsome
lot.
dude. I think he looks like the guy who played Magneto a little bit.
Oh,
Who's the younger guy who played Magneto?
Oh, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender. I think he kind of looks like him a little bit. He's a good-looking dude, and there's nothing wrong with him.
But they did
But
the whole like, oh, he's the king and he doesn't want to be the king. But like I didn't care because we didn't know this guy at all.
He gets things handed to him the whole show.
The whole show.
Like the whole show. He goes to Numenor and they make him a smith. They just give him stuff, and like the Numenorians weren't exactly nice to outsiders. Like they made the Numenorians kind of like MAGA people, where they're like, they're taking our jobs.
I have that in my notes. I swear to God.
Like they're the MAGA.
I have that at the end of episode 3. Elves are coming for our jobs. LOL.
It's the truth. They say that. They say because one elf, because the elves and the Numenorians are not. They don't get along for some reason. I don't know why. But Galadriel, who's an elf, makes her way to Numenor for help. She's asking for help and passage back to Rivendell, I'm assuming, to get back to her kinfolk. And the Numenorians are all pissy about it. And if you side with the elves, then you should be cast out or whatever.
Or treasonous or whatever.
Right. But they give Halbrand a whole friggin' forge just to start hammering stuff out. Here, start making weapons for us. Here you go, bud. We don't know you or anything, but here, take full access.
He's buying rounds on the house. Like, he's living life for no reason.
And the ability for him to go to Celebrimbor, who is the master forger of the rings, and show him what an alloy is. Like, you don't think this dude, who's the best ironsmith, metalsmith in the history of the elves, who has made every sword and piece of armor for the elves ever made, doesn't know what an alloy is? And for those of you who don't know what alloys are, it's when you take two metals and make a new metal, right? Like that's very common. Like baseball bats are alloys. Like it's this guy should know that. And Sauron is is able to manipulate this guy so easily. And like all the men are stupid. I hate to say it, but in this show, all the men are freaking idiots. Elrond's an idiot.
He's not as
Celebrimbor's an idiot.
He at least had something to do.
He's a wimp, dude. Dude, when watch the opening scene of The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
When he's with
who's the first dude you see on the friggin' battlefield with his fucking badass sword out, yelling to his friggin' army to attack Sauron? Was it Galadriel?
No.
Did you see Galadriel on the battlefield at all? No. You saw friggin' Elrond friggin' ready to die, right? And in this one, he's like a little twink in this show. I don't get it. He's so timid and weird.
I will say though, again, he had something to do, and which is very rare in the show, for someone to have something to do, and B, a character have an actual relationship with another character. So his scenes were the most stomachable because there was at least something happening. The Hobbit, what are the hobbits called? The Proudfoots? What we the bagel,
Harfoot,
the
the
Hardfoots?
bagel foots, the
We
bagel
were calling
holes.
them poppy seed and all these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There, when I
Can we
had the
call them
remote
poppy
out.
seed and sesame seed, please? Can we just refer to
Yeah,
them as poppy seed and
yeah,
sesame seed? Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Poppy and sesame seed.
Yeah.
I'm like the 15-second click button, jamming on it. Just I was like, next, next, next.
Wearing it out.
Wearing it out until either the guy who the nude guy who turned out to be
Gandalf.
Gandalf.
Gandalf's not
It's going to
Gandalf.
be Gandalf, right? There's no
Yeah.
way it's not.
Yeah.
There was I think I timed it a 3-minute segment of just singing in the
Which is
middle
not
of
even good songs.
No, well, I didn't know. I didn't listen to it. I just kept skipping it until something sort of happened. Like nothing happens.
Yeah.
But they eventually set the table at the end for like Isildur, the
Mhm.
Rings of Power, Sauron, and Gandalf.
Isildur's an
roster,
idiot too.
yes, but he is an idiot. Is the thing. He's weak
But he's not supposed to be an idiot. Why is he an idiot?
because he's corrupted. He's easily corrupted. He's corrupted almost instantly by the ring.
Okay. But like besides the ring, like there's a lot of him prior to the ring. Like in
Well,
this show,
now
he's
we're
just a
seeing
stupid kid. In this show, he's just a stupid kid.
which is fine if he's just a kid.
I hate it. I hate
You
this.
hate
I
you
hate it
hate
so much.
kids.
No, not kids. I hate, first of all, the Numenorians are supposed to be like the best fight. They're supposed to be better fighters than the elves.
Okay.
Like they are like, they're the best that a man could ever be. They're supposed to be like 7.5 feet tall, like on average. They're supposed to be oxes of men that are just strong and the best fighters in the entire Middle Earth are supposed to be the Numenorians, right? And the fact that Galadriel, who doesn't necessarily look like, first of all, the lady who plays Galadriel, very short lady.
Yes.
Galadriel's supposed to be very, very tall, very, very tall
Galadriel in
woman.
the movies is kind of hulking. She's like a very
Yes,
big, slender woman.
and she's supposed to be the most beautiful thing you ever laid your eyes on, right?
It's Kate Blanchett, and
Yeah,
it's a very
but
she's like a
like
very tall,
she's literally supposed
fair.
to be the fairest person in the land, and that's why Gimli like doesn't even want to look at her because he doesn't feel like he can even gaze upon such beauty,
He's
right?
so relatable. Just me at the
Yeah.
bar every night. Just God damn it.
But one thing that I was thinking of because I was reviewing this today and I was watching, is her name Morfydd Clark?
Ooh, does she
Galadriel's
play?
actress.
Oh yeah, she was like I wasn't expecting any backlash.
Oh, well, here's the thing. If you watch Galadriel in the Lord of the Rings movie, she is stoic, right? She's
Yes,
stoic and she talks in riddles kind of, but you only have her for 5 minutes, 8 minutes
not long.
of the entire trilogy. You have her for 8 minutes. Maybe you have her for 8 minutes when she's talking to Frodo, when she's pouring the water into the bowl and she's like, "Oh, and she's talking about things." She tried to do that for 8 episodes. I think she has the kind of mannerisms down, but you can't do that when you're the main character for 8 episodes because it's boring. You have to give us something of Galadriel that's likable. There's nothing likable about her.
I thought what would have been better if I could pitch something to you, because as we've discussed, you're the producer of this.
Mm,
You got the producer's mind these days.
yeah.
When I was sitting there, I'm like, and they did like I guess it's like a little bit of a reference or like following suit, and they did the whole pre Lord of the Rings thing where they just like zip through the brief history of exactly right before what happened.
Yeah.
You needed to do that because she's the main character.
Right.
That's her history. You can't
Mhm.
glance over the main character's background. With Frodo, that makes sense because that's a pretext to his story. That was her
Mhm.
story. We don't know
Yeah.
anything about Galadriel. You have to give us at least 4 or 5 episodes with the brother, the thing that
Mhm.
makes her want to kill Sauron,
Yeah.
and with her husband that she just dropped out of nowhere that she had, to make us understand this person. And then I think what would have been more interesting is but she's in the movies too. She's paranoid and she's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. She's very
Yeah.
fair and she's very intelligent, but she's paranoid.
Because
And
she
that
can
whole
see
like
things.
because she can see things and I'm the fairest one and I'd be the greatest queen and everyone would love me.
Yeah.
And it's like her head is just like it's like all like a pretzel. So if
Mhm.
you have that character, that's way more interesting than what we got. If it's someone
Yeah.
that's like outraged, but she's like, you understand her, but nobody believes her, and she's like, that's almost more of an interesting because then you're sympathizing with her
Mhm.
and or empathizing. Even we've all had people tell people things and they don't believe us, and when we
Right.
know it's true and they still don't believe us, that's a better character than what we got. You
Well,
have to do something.
she knows things and doesn't tell anybody about it. Like all this is her fault. Like
How do you mean?
she realizes at one point that Hallbrand is Sauron.
That's in the
Towards
last. That's in the last episode.
Okay,
And,
but she
and
doesn't
and
tell
as soon
anybody.
as that happens, she goes upstairs to the guy that's an idiot and to Elrond and is like, "All right, we have to make the 3 rings right now and tell nobody else."
But she let him go.
She has no window of opportunity to tell them before that moment. She does not
But
withhold that immediately.
she finds out and lets him go. He tells her
No,
essentially, and she lets
he
him go.
throws her in the water and she's drowning and Elrond saves her. She
Hmm.
doesn't have a win. I watched this like 2 hours ago. She
Yeah,
has
no, I
no
hear you. Yeah.
opportunity.
All right, if you
She
say
does
so.
not withhold that, but she does. She's not a perfect person by any means.
Yeah.
She makes a lot of mistakes, but they all do. I think is kind of the point of this era of heroes is that they're very, very deeply flawed. It's
Yeah.
all waiting for Aragorn and Frodo to do the right thing,
Right. And I
but that
don't.
doesn't make it a good show.
No. And the guy Adar, the father of the orcs, the guy who makes the orcs.
Yes,
Okay, so he's not in the books, but I'm not going to fault that here. But we kind of know where orcs come from. We from the movies.
from the
Like
ground.
orcs are they're a breed of elf that has been tainted. They're a bloodline of elf. They're a kind of elf that have been basically tainted by Sauron and Morgoth. Right? They didn't come from this dude. And how did he make them? Is he having sex with orcs? Like, how did he
No,
do that? Because he's an elf himself. Adar is like a
yes,
fallen elf. So how
they
did he
gave us
make orcs?
they
Nothing.
gave us
They gave us nothing.
nothing on him.
Yeah, and he's not in the next one. You know,
Oh, he's
he's not in
done.
the. He's done. He left this show. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
that's
gone.
not
And
good.
so is the Don Lemon's girlfriend. She's gone too.
What? She's like the leader of these people.
Which is bullshit, by the way. She's like the cleanest. She's like the cleanest person. Like none of those people should be clean. Like they should all be horribly filthy.
That's fair.
Like they live in a mud street hut town,
Yes.
and she's like like commercial ready. Like she's like makeup commercial like actress.
She was cleaner than me than when I was watching on my couch. I looked
Have
gross
you
because again, I
have you
rolled out of
seen
bed
the
and watched
women?
this.
Have you seen the women of Rohan? Like they are filthy.
Yeah,
like
they got 30 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're hardworking women, man. They're in the fields and whatever. And then why would you follow her? What clout does she have to say follow me? And I'm glad half the town left. Half the town was like, screw this chick. Like who is
We're
she
living
to?
with Sauron. Yeah. Done with
Yeah, like we're
this.
going with Sauron. Like he's got all the orcs.
I had something
And
in my notes on them. Because again, really boring. Um, but what did I because so like one of the only good things that happens is that orc like goes into their house or
Mhm,
whatever. And I'm like, in my notes, I'm like, okay. And he had like a weird like goat or ox mask thing, but he's in their
yeah,
house. I'm like, okay, this is like something cool. And then like the farm hands just kill him immediately.
she
Like,
kills a bunch of orcs. She
yes.
kills like 3 or 4 orcs.
But I'm like, but I thought these are supposed to be like peasants.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
yeah, that was so weird. And she had, yeah, it makes no sense. Like, why would they follow this person? She has zero
yeah.
credentials.
And the son, her son, I forget his name.
Theo.
Theo. Now, there's a guy in the movie The Princess Bride that I have to pull up. It's Princess Bride. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
I do.
Princess
But also
Bride.
in my notes, he was bad haircut. I did.
I call him the Princess Bride ogre. Okay. Now, if any of you have seen The Princess Bride, I am one of that might be whenever I'm asked to do movie lists and I'm asked to, what's your favorite fantasy movie? What's your favorite comedy? What's your favorite, this or that? Princess Bride shows up on my list almost every single time. And that kid reminds me so much of this character. It's unbelievable. Now, for those of you, this was the guy who ran the torture device underground in The Princess Bride. So when the man in black comes to take his girlfriend back, they capture him and they bring him underneath this tree in the woods where there's a secret torture den from the king. And this guy runs the torture room and he stretches out. He puts them on this machine that sucks the life out of people. And he reminds me of Theo. Let me grab a Theo picture. Theo, Rings of Power. Everybody, make sure you keep that image in your mind. Tell me this kid doesn't look just like him.
He's a couple stressful days away at the office from looking just like that guy.
Hold on. I'll do it here. Hold on. You got to remember he's a younger version of him, right?
Yes.
So put gray hair and some bad skin on his. That's the same dude. I cannot watch this kid on TV without thinking of that dude in Princess Bride. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
He did have the cool. I did like the fire sword. That thing was kind of the Sauron blood sword. That was a cool idea. It wasn't even really a MacGuffin. It doesn't have. It was, but it wasn't because they didn't do it correctly.
Right. So for those of you out there, there's a sword, a broken sword hilt that has the mark of Sauron on it, that the kid Theo finds and keeps it with him. He holds it with him or whatever. It ends up that sword is a key that opens up a dam that rushes water into a mountain that begins a volcano. That is the most contrived thing I've ever heard in my life. At one point, the broken sword wasn't broken. Am I right?
No, because you have to put your blood into the sword. And that's Sauron Slugworth. He's the one that gets the sword. Because I remember this scene because when he's leaving, we were talking when the defectors at the village leave.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, boy, give me the sword. Come with me. It was Sauron Slugworth. And he's the one that gets the sword. And you have to put your blood from your wrist into the sword. Yeah. And then he stabs it in the keyhole.
And what happens to the sword? What happens to the sword when you put blood in it? Does something happen to it? Does it grow
because it's a hilt and it becomes a full broad sword?
And the Joe Schmo from the village knew this?
Yes, Sauron Slugworth. Yes.
How did Sauron Slugworth know that?
They have no prior explanation, but he had the mark that the sword left on the kid's wrist.
Yeah.
He's like, I got it too, Johnny. And then
I got it too, Charlie.
Yeah, I don't know. And then
he's an everlasting gobstopper.
Yeah, he's going to all the other kids in the town. He's going to Mike TV. Yeah, all the great characters from the Rings of Power. And he takes the sword, and then he just makes the dam. And it's not like that's not important. It makes Mount Doom, which is the most important location in Lord of the Rings.
Why are you breezing over this? This is not this is explained. It's not explained.
No.
At the beginning of the show, all the orcs that are made by Adar are digging trenches for this specific mountain, for that dam, for that key, right?
Yes.
All those trenches that were being dug at the beginning of the show were made specifically so when that key was turned, the water could get to the mountain.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my question. Don't you think when they initially made the key, when did they make the key? Did they make the key 1,000 years ago? Did they make the key 100 years ago? Did they make the key yesterday? Don't you think that if you're going to make a key, the trenches would have already been dug?
I don't know. I've never dug a trench.
But the key, you're in your head, be the bad guy for a second. You're Sauron. First of all, did Sauron make the key?
He must have.
So Sauron knew ahead of time that he's going to need Mount Doom
to make something.
So why doesn't he do it? He needed Slugworth to do it. I don't make me understand. I don't understand this.
He needed good old SS.
Why did any of this happen? But why did any of it? It happened because the story needed it to happen. That's not good. Does that make sense?
Yes, we think very differently, and we're both correct. Because you think very plot, like X, Y, Z. Why does this happen? I'm very like, if the characters work, then I can kind of I can excuse most of it. But this one is exceptionally bad, right? But Matt, again, if the plot doesn't make sense, I'm with you.
In Lord of the Rings, it works. So you're putting yourself into a world that already exists, where there's explanations for everything. Right? You can't take over a world that has everything laid out for it with explanations and put yourself into that world, want to play in that world, and then say, fuck it. We'll just make it up as we go and not have it explained. Everything that happens is explained to you in Lord of the Rings, in the movies. Yes. Right? There's no,
it's a horrendous script. I have no idea.
That bothers me.
I'll be completely honest with you. With them digging the trenches, I didn't know that until right now. I was just thought that they were building. They didn't make that clear that they were looking for something, or that they were I just thought it was like camp work. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. So that didn't make sense to you, and then you still didn't even put it together at the end that those were the trenches that were needed for the water to get to the mountain.
No idea.
So now I have to make up a story, Matt. I have to make up a story in my head to make it make sense.
You got to do some guy's job for him, basically.
Right? So I have to now say, okay, Adar and Slugworth had to be in cahoots with each other. They had to, because Adar is the one making them dig the trenches, and Slugworth had to know the trenches were being dug.
And also, Slugworth has to know where the keyhole is.
Slugworth has to know where the keyhole is, and then Slugworth has to know how to use the key and all that stuff. So in my head, those two have to work together at some point, but they never even meet in the show.
And someone has to work for Sauron.
Right. None of this makes any sense. And that, to me, I can't deal with that. I can't invest myself in a show that doesn't know its own plot. It's not my job to come up with your plot. It's my job to be entertained by your plot.
And now we got to watch 3 episodes next week.
And from what I understand, the next season is just fights and battles, because that's what people complained about. People complained that there weren't enough battles and it was too slow and that it dragged. So they were like, okay, you want battles? We'll give you battles. And now it's all battles. And that's not right, because I hate to tell you, Lord of the Rings was a slow fucking movie. But I will watch that movie every time it's on TV, no matter how slow it is, no matter how long it takes to get to the end. I remember watching that movie in the theater and seeing Sam and Frodo get into that canoe and friggin' paddle across to the other side and the friggin' credits roll. And I'm like, I can't wait for the next one. With this, it's like, what just happened? Like you're confused. You don't know why things happened. And then, so okay, all right. So now let's make believe this all makes sense. Let's just make believe we're Matt Pegno, and all of this made sense. And
It did not all make sense to me.
okay,
Let's get that out of the way.
oh well, the characters work, so it makes sense.
No. I was saying that the characters didn't work, so I was just completely
Okay.
uninvested. They did not
All
work at all.
Oh, okay, good. I misunderstood. So let's just make believe that we're one of these paid social media people that
We
are
work
paid
for
by
IGN.
Amazon.
Yeah, we work for IGN.
Yeah, we're paid by Amazon to say this show is great, right? Did you watch any of those interviews though? Did you see the paid people, the paid influencers?
What could they possibly say?
Well, they were brought onto TV, and this one girl was like dancing and like, oh, my girl Galadriel's gonna kick some ass, and she's all like that. And then like you go to her like social media page, and like people are like, so how'd you like the first 5 episodes of Rings of Power? And she's like, oh, I haven't watched it yet. I'm still watching The Witcher. And it's like she was like, that was literally her response. And she's totally just a paid spokesperson. But anyway, let's make believe this all makes sense. Water rushes into a mountain and causes a volcano. I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to earth science.
Yes.
That's not how volcanoes work. Okay?
I didn't know that, but I figured it didn't.
They're not just large teapots. Okay?
Steaming.
That's not, yeah, steaming. Steaming. And then it wasn't just like a little eruption. It wasn't like a little boil over. This was like the biggest volcanic eruption I've ever seen in any type of video.
It terraformed an entire region.
It terraformed a region into Mordor and into Mount Doom.
It blinded somebody.
And why did it need to be a volcano? Like, couldn't Sauron just go into the, I don't know, man. Like I said, I shouldn't have to come up with your story for you.
No.
Right?
It's
your story should be
a customer. Not really.
Your story should be very understandable. I can't even think of anything in Lord of the Rings that I might say that about. I'm trying to think of things in the movie Lord of the Rings.
The only thing, obviously, there's the glaring one about the Eagles, but nobody really cares about that.
What about the Eagles? I mean, they're
people though, like, why didn't they take them all the way? But that's not.
Yeah.
Then there'd be no story.
But why didn't the U.S. get into World War II until it did? Like,
yeah,
they got involved when they needed to get involved. They didn't want to get involved until it was necessary.
Because they did die. The Eagles are not impervious.
Right. You see one dying in the new trailer. Well,
I've not watched it. I just caught up like a couple, so I've not watched the new trailer.
Well, there's we can't watch it because Warner Brothers will copyright it, so will be taken down.
Oh, right.
But what are they called? The Barrow Downs. What are those in Lord of the Rings? There's this place called the Barrow Downs, and these kind of like, they're not ring wraiths, but they're these weird entities in the Barrow Downs. I forget the names of them. Tom Bombadil's going to be in this for some reason, and it's going to be, hey, remember this name from the story? He's going to be in it.
Is that the guy that's like in the Shire?
He's not in the Shire. He's in his own little realm of Middle Earth. But he's an extremely powerful being, and there's lots of like unknowns about him, even with like people that know the stuff really, really well. He's an extremely powerful being, like from like the beginning of time kind of thing. And the hobbits bring him the ring, and we're like, here, you take it. And he's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. You guys do what you got to do, kind of thing. And there's always these theories about what if Tom Bombadil had the ring and this and that and whatever. But he's a big part of the books that a lot of people were upset wasn't in the movies. I don't remember his part of the book all that much. All I know is he had a smoke show wife. That's all I know, is that his wife was like the hottest chick in the land.
You're
Oddly
reading
enough,
you're reading the book, and you're like, "Oh my god, this
yeah,
guy's so cool."
yeah. Oddly enough, that's the only thing I remember. He's like a lumberjack. He's supposed to look like a lumberjack type of guy, and his wife is just a smoke show who was like some type of like demigod or something. But yeah. So season 2 comes out in 2 days, and we're gonna watch 3 hours of it and do another show and tell you about it. So be ready for that. Every week we're gonna do an episode recap. You ready, Matt? Buckle
Oh
up.
god.
So where
I
are we at now? Right. So let's give the people like a where we're at. Now you just watched it. So w- let's talk about different peoples in this show and where they're at. So the elves, where are the elves at this point?
the elves have forged the 3 rings of power, and
Okay.
I'm
For
assuming
themselves.
for themselves. I'm assuming it's gonna be the guy who made it, Galadriel, and Elrond that are all going to wear them. But that's probably going to be like a whole 2-3 episode ordeal discussion of who gets the Elven Rings of Power.
Okay. So in the Lord of the Rings, I think Elrond still has his ring.
She
Or no,
definitely
I'm
does.
sorry. I'm sorry. I think Elrond, either Elrond or Celebrimbor, the guy who forges the rings, one of those two give their ring to Gandalf because Gandalf has a ring of power, and it's one of the elven rings. It's the ring
Okay.
of fire. That's why
Um,
he has like the power of flame or something like that.
and this one, I would assume it's going to be Celebrimbor because you could
Yeah.
probably trade him a ring of power for like a bag of like rice or something because he's that
Yeah,
dumb.
you could trick him pretty easy. Do
Yeah.
you know that um, Galadriel has a daughter who is the mom of Arwen?
I had no idea.
Yes. So Galadriel's husband, who's not in the show for some reason, he's in the Lord of the Rings movies. So we know he's not dead. He can't be dead because he's in Lord of the Rings, which is a whole age later. Her, Galadriel, and him, I forget his name, they have a daughter who gives birth to Arwen. So Arwen is Galadriel's granddaughter. Elrond is the father of Arwen.
Yes.
Elrond marries Galadriel's daughter
Okay.
and has a baby named Arwen, who
So
then
that guy's got to pop up maybe this season. I looked it up. His name
yes,
is Celeborn.
Celeborn. Yeah, Celeborn.
Celeborn. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he was kind of he was in the movies for like 2 seconds. He was a weird looking
So
dude.
they got their whole situation.
Yeah, but who knows where
Uh,
the hell he is? So that's what the elves are. Now, what's going on with the Mithril?
the Mithril,
A whole other thing people are mad about.
the dwarf, it was like stripped of his prince title, his lord title, because he went
Durin.
against his father and he yelled at him. He got
Mm-hmm.
really mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the wife was sitting there and like plotting, like we're eventually going to rule this kingdom.
Yeah.
So, nope.
Sorry.
That's where we're going with that.
Okay.
That was just like a quick scene, but obviously they're going to get the Mithril because
Right.
that's like the most important thing.
But what is the Mithril supposed to do? The Mithril is supposed to is supposed to
The
cast the
light,
darkness out or bring back
yes,
the light?
yeah,
Okay.
and also we know that Frodo eventually needs to wear it.
Right. But here's the thing, like, again, the lore of this is that Mithril in the show is supposed to combat the darkness that's creeping into um the elfish land. I forget the name of the land that the elves live in. Eregion. Eregion is like the place where the elves live in this show. And there's some tree. There's a in the lore there are these two trees of light and dark, and that's what kind of gives life to the elves. And in this show, the trees are dying, and the veins in the trees are turning black, and it's the symbolism that darkness is taking over the world.
It's a Beauty
And
and the Beast situation.
yeah, and that this Mithril is the only thing that can stop the darkness from taking over the world.
because they
right?
put it next to one of like the leaves and it was healed
Yeah.
immediately.
So in the book itself, Sauron is the darkness.
Okay.
Sauron, but Mithril doesn't beat him.
No,
You know what
because
I
it's
mean?
just an
Now,
object. Yeah.
right, it's a metal. However, they do make the rings of power out of Mithril, right?
That's why they're indestructible.
That's why they're indestructible, because they're kind of like the adamantium of Middle Earth, so to speak. Okay, so that's the elves. What about the Numenorians?
They all went back. The queen is blind. The king passes away. You got
The
there's
queen
like
wasn't a bad character. I didn't mind the queen. I
no,
forget
she was
her
good.
name. Yeah, she was
Isildur
okay.
stays in Middle Earth.
Okay.
But then there's like the guy who was like, I guess you'd call him the hand of the king. And
Faradon or something like that. Yeah.
he had like a big,
Yeah,
like
yeah. He was
Jack
the
Black
Trump. He was
type
Trump.
beard.
Yeah.
He's Donald Trump.
He's Trump. He's the head of the MAGA movement.
Yeah, he's Donald Trump, and he's clearly plotting to like make a move.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all they gave us with those guys. And then you still got the Viggo Mortensen looking guy that's just hanging out over there.
Because the Isildur is really important. Like,
one of the most important, yes.
I mean, well, where does this show end? Right? Where does Rings of Power? Does Rings of Power end with the fight of the five armies? Like, not, I don't know.
It must.
The five armies. Yeah, right.
If we're this close to Isildur, then it must.
Right, because Isildur's not an old man in that movie in Lord of the Rings. He's probably in his 30s or 40s when he defeats Sauron, and at this point he's probably in his late teens or early 20s, I would assume.
And Sauron, I think, in the story of it all, dies or goes away pretty soon after they take away the Ring of Power.
I mean, almost immediately.
Like he makes the Ring of Power, they're there, they take it away, and then it goes missing, or it goes with the Isildur for a while. So like it's got to be. If this show goes 3 seasons, it's probably the end of season 3, and that's the show.
I wonder.
I wouldn't anticipate it being the end of the 2nd season.
I wonder how many seasons there. I think they might have 4 or 5 seasons like booked.
Jesus,
even if they don't make the 4 or 5 seasons, the Tolkien estate gets paid for 4 or 5 seasons.
All right, so then they can just do 3 and then do 2 of something that we actually want to see. That'd be a great idea. They should do the Shadow of Mordor instead. That was awesome.
You know, they're coming out with a cartoon called The War of the Rohirrim.
That's probably going to be great.
Yeah, it's coming out soon. We should do a review on that.
I would like that.
But yeah, it's a cartoon too. It's all like anime style. It looks pretty cool. The anime looks awesome. But all right,
and then
so
you
that's
got
where we left. Okay.
Yeah, and then you got Gandalf and Poppy Seed. That's it. And they're just
Gandalf isn't supposed to be around for like another 1,000 years, by the way. So
is that right?
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out.
They needed another hitter in the lineup. I mean, it's thin.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be Gandalf, but I don't mind that it is. That it is. Yeah. So how we left off is now we have Mordor. We have Mount Doom, which is where we know, and this isn't a spoiler if you've seen Lord of the Rings, Mount Doom is where Sauron forges the One Ring. So now, are we going to see Sauron enter Mount Doom in this season?
He was he was right there at the end of the last one.
Because he's not Hallbrand anymore.
No, now he's Sauron.
No, I don't think he's Sauron either. I don't think he's Sauron yet. Let me. Oh man. Sauron. So, what's the? I can't remember. I wrote this down on all my notes that I left at my job. So at this point, he's taking he's taking another form now, because he still has to infiltrate the elves at some point.
Oh, he has to
Because
become like a dark elf or a fallen elf.
no, he becomes Celebrimbor's like apprentice. Like in the books, he gets really close to Celebrimbor and learns. That's how he learns how to forge a ring.
Unless that's what you just saw in the last 7 minutes
But
of
what
this
they messed
episode.
up here is he taught Celebrimbor how to forge the ring instead of the other way around. He's supposed to infiltrate this and become an apprentice and learn how to do it so that he can go to Mount Doom and do it secretly. That's the whole point of this.
Maybe that's what they substituted when he became a steel mason on what's it called?
Hey, fan, give us a minute. We'll be right back. Okay, so we just watched the trailer for season 2. There's a lot of fighting, right? So, as I said before, tons and tons of fighting going to show up in this season. It might be Sauron. I don't think in the books. I don't think he goes by Sauron until he gets the ring. But it's the same character, same actor that plays Halbrand, but with a wig on that makes him look like an elf. He has the long blonde hair. He's got pointy ears like an elf. And he looks like he's tormenting Celebrimbor, who is the guy who helps forge the rings. And that's the thing about Sauron, is he's not really a fighter bad guy. He's not a bad guy who fights in the books. The guy who came before him, Morgoth, was a fighter. He wanted to destroy everything. This guy, Sauron, isn't about destroying things. He's more of, he wants to manipulate and take control over people. You know, that's more his
He's
style.
kind of like a Thanos, right? Like he fights when he has to.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think in the books, because that's what, like he's not known to be a fighter. I think that's why maybe he gets defeated so easy, because like it doesn't take much for him to get killed, or
Just
for
to
the ring
think
to
of
get
a
cut off his
different one.
hand.
It's kind of like
Yeah,
if you're a Watchmen guy, like Ozymandias.
yeah.
Like
Ozymandias
he's not like cute with it. Like he doesn't really
right,
like. He's not one of those guys that, like, wants to get caught. Like he's like, oh, I
right.
think I'm right and I'm really capable, so I'm going to do it to the way that I
Yeah,
know the best. Right?
yeah. I hear you. But yeah, there's gonna be lots of fighting. The character Adar does appear to be in the second season, but it's a different actor. So the actor that played Adar in the first season is not in it anymore. You didn't see any of the Harfoots in that episode, in that trailer. You didn't see Poppy and Sesame in there at all. You didn't
No
see
Sesame,
Gandalf, not Gandalf.
Pumpernickel, none of the gang. Yeah,
Yeah, none of the the baker's dozen was missing from that trailer. Yeah, it looks like he gets the Sauron crown that we know, right? At the end.
Yeah, he was holding it against Galadriel.
Galadriel. All the rolled R's in this
More rolled
show
R's than a Mexican soap opera. I mean, it was crazy in that trailer. It's out of control. It's like Chewbacca.
It was like Chewbacca. Sauron. Like I can't roll my R's, so it's lost on me. But yeah, I don't know, man. It looks like he has to get into Mordor. Like there's lots of rings
Yes.
being shown in that
Finally,
trailer. Lots of
for
rings, all the rings.
for all the fashionistas that came to this show to watch Rings of Power for the rings, this
Yeah.
season looks like you might finally be in luck because I'm
There
sure you
you
were
go.
woefully disappointed after season 1.
But all right, I
Do we
think that's
want
going
to
to do it.
do we want to do Matt's match of the week before we end it? Would that be
Yeah,
a good way to end?
let's
Okay.
do Matt's match of the week. So I want to hear about this. I told Matt not to tell me anything about this, so I'm going into this blind. So I can't wait.
As we've mentioned, I'm a single 20-something-year-old who lives with his parents, and I typically get at least on a good week one match with someone on one of these online dating profiles that might.
Which one's your favorite?
Hinge is the most classy.
What's Hinge, and how's it different than Tinder?
Hinge is like you have to actually like respond to like the prompts. You have to respond to them, so it's like it helps you start the conversation earlier. Because my generation is woefully bad at speaking to people.
Okay.
All right.
But
But this one was on Tinder.
Yeah.
And one of her prompts was message me if you also love Star Wars, Harry Potter, or the Hunger Games. So I mean, we have to do something with that. There's got to be a
Did your
way.
did your lightsaber go off when you read that?
So I don't know if there's a way you think you could respond to that prompt without being disgusting.
Is it just it says response? Read it again. I'm sorry. I thought
She
of
said,
penis.
message me if you also love Star Wars, Harry Potter, or the Hunger Games is one of her
Yeah,
prompts.
just what does she have a name? You don't have to give us the name, but there is a name, right?
She has a name, yes.
So say, hey, name.
Hey, name.
I too like science.
You gotta go with a question or something, right?
Do you? Well, no. Well, you can have that as say, hey, Samantha, I do love Star Wars and science fiction, whatever the hell she said in there. What's your how big do you how big do you like your lightsabers?
That's disgusting.
No, bad. Okay, all right. Let's rethink this.
This is a family-friendly show. Actually, it's not. I lied.
Yeah, this is. I don't hit approve for kids because I say the F word a couple times. What can you say? Read it one more time. I'm not listening. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Jeez.
Message me if you also love Star Wars, Harry Potter, or the Hunger Games.
Star Wars, Harry Potter.
You want to ask like which one would you rather live in, and how can I be your Han Solo? Something a little corny.
All right. So which of those movies are you going to reference in your response? Are you going to reference
I know
Star
nothing
Wars, Harry Potter?
I know nothing about the Hunger Games. I'm definitely strongest with Star Wars or Harry Potter.
All right. So you can say kind of like which house do you belong to kind of bullshit, I guess, if you want to get all corny.
That's like zodiac signs for Harry Potter women. Yeah,
are you a Hogwarts or are you a Hoktua?
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. What do you mean?
No, that poor girl just went on the internet and ruined her life. But she's gonna make a lot of money. So.
She didn't ruin her life. She's gonna make thousands. She's throwing out balls at the friggin' City Field, Matt. She's parking in your parking lot for free.
She did park in my parking lot for free. They sent out a letter about that too.
Yeah,
an employee letter.
Don't bother the Hoktua girl. Like, what did they say?
No, they said that from management, they were like, "We do not condone this. We don't know how she got to throw out the first pitch. We're sorry."
That's excellent.
I mean, I was dying laughing. I thought that was so funny. Yeah, Matt's match of the week. All right, so we got a which house are you in? Okay.
No, that could be one. You could also say, I don't know. This is so fucking.
I thought this was something. I don't know. We're trying
out new content. It's something. It's something here. I don't know why. Like I would have. I'm an old man. Why are you asking an old man things like this? This is young. I can't talk to young people anymore. Like you're the only young person I can talk to.
I was gonna say we just spoke for 2 hours.
Yeah. But you're gonna think everything I think is lame.
I don't think so.
I just asked her what her favorite friggin' Star Wars movie is. And if say, hey, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? And if you say anything other than Empire Strikes Back, you're wrong.
All right.
Say that.
Why not? Let's do it right now. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live, baby. If you end up getting anything from this girl, you can just thank me for it.
You got it. It's all on you.
It's all on me.
I think you probably other than Empire, you're wrong. You probably have to put. Yeah, she's cute. I'll probably have to put like a little bit of an emoji at the end so she doesn't.
Yeah. You put a winky face and an eggplant. Put an eggplant at the end with raindrops.
I don't think so.
And a peach.
I'm gonna put the wink in the skull and the laugh.
Skull.
That's like I'm dead. Is what people like. Oh. It's not like
I want to kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
No, it's not like that anymore. So we'll let you know. Hopefully I have one at the end of every week, and we can have this nice little 4-minute debacle at the end of every episode. I think that'd be fun, and hopefully I get something out of it.
That would be a hoot. That would be a hoot. I do have I did have a wasting time. So it happened to me this like 2 hours before the show. I got in trouble with my dad. My daddy got mad at me.
Is Ralph still wrecking the movies?
Oh my god. No, Ralph's he watches everything like free on Roku. Like anything that's like there's a billion movies for free on Roku, free streaming or whatever. So he watches everything. No, I got in trouble for not inviting him to my son's baseball game because I didn't feel like dealing with an 83-year-old man at a baseball field. And he got very, very mad at me. And it's like, why didn't you tell me you had a game? And I'm like, I can't say because I don't want to deal with you having to walk half a mile to the bathroom every 3 minutes and having to walk with you because you're going to fall and hurt yourself. I can't say that to the man because that's mean. And I don't want to say, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean to my dad, but I already hurt his feelings. His feelings are very hurt. Very, very hurt for me not telling him about my son's baseball game. But that's that.
That about does it.
That about does it for this week. 2 hours.
It's going pretty good. And they fly. For me, at least.
They do. I'm having a grand old time. And I'm sure the listener can't wait to get this in the morning.
I sure hope so.
This Thursday, the 29th, is going to be the season 2 of Lord of the Rings. Hopefully me and Matt can record something this weekend. Little Joe, Joe will be here. Maybe Joe can join us.
That'd be great.
I can make Joe watch the episodes.
My availability, we'll talk about it after. My availability is going to be weird just till the end of the U.S. Open. So we might need to do a catch up. But it's once after the 8th when all this ends. I'm home free and we get football back. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm pumped up.
Sounds good, man.
Awesome.
Can't wait for college football. College football where I live is very, very big.
So my Hurricanes play this Saturday, man.
Who are they playing?
Gators. Battle of Florida.
Ooh. Oh, they're gonna. Is your school any good anymore? Are the Hurricanes good?
They're every single year since I've been there, they've been ranked in the top 25 and fallen out of the top 25. So they've been expected to be good and never been good.
Yeah, because the Gators are still pretty good.
It's going to be tight. The spread is like 2.5. So
wow. All right,
go Canes.
Cool. All right, man. So that'll do it. So thanks everybody for watching. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell and like the show and make a comment and give us a 5-star review on Apple or somewhere. Help us out a little bit and tell your friends to watch. So until next week or next show, see you later, everybody.
God bless.